Hi, welcome to a new video dedicated to the last brushless compact eraser from Eachine, and this model comes after the Aurora 90, probably the direct clone of the Halo 90, completely carbon duped brushless quadcopter. So now with the Aurora 68 we have a shrink version, so more compact, more indoors of flight application friendly, but it's keeping exactly the same electronics, so an F3 omnibus flight control board, and on a lower plate you have a 4-in-1 ESC BLLES compatible, supporting D-Shot 600, that's great. And on top you have an IO, a 48 channel with a clover leaf, well protected by this antenna guard, 600 TVL CMOS sensor, 25mW as I said. And for the receiver, because it's a BNF version, you have three choice of receiver. Mine is the FreeSky D8 version, but you can find also a FlySky, will be compatible with the AFHDS2A, so with a working face-safe, or for Spectrum radio, a DSM2 or DSMX is also compatible. So now let's discover this bundle. Okay, so let's open this very nice and compact box. So this type of receiver is written on the lateral side, FreeSky D8 for mine, and the first things you will find is an instruction manual printed in color, very well printed, where you will be able to find all the different elements as well as the speed diagram of the machine and the main characteristics. So for example, the announced weight without the battery is 48. We will check that fact. Barely 10 ampere, okay, and a peak with 14, D-Shot 600 supported, 1.5 inch props to be more precise, 1535 4-leaf version, okay, and the 600 TVL CMOS and 4-inch sensor, 25mW for the 48 channel video transmitter, and come with Betaflight already installed 3.1, and the expected flight time are very poor, 3 minutes with the 400 milliamps power 2S LiPo, even with 30C of discharge rate, okay. And we will see the element of the Eachine mini cube, at least for the two lower board, for the 4-in-1 ESC and the main controller board, where you can guess here the long chip here. This is the OSD chip, compatible with Betaflight OSD, that's great. And all the list of the video frequency, how to use this camera with two buttons, the front to flip mirror the image, or if you long press to cycle between NTSC or pale, and the rear button, okay, allow you to select one of the 8 frequencies in the current selected band, or if you long press on this rear button to select one of the 6 supported bands, okay. Be aware with this machine, the board is flipped of 45 degrees, so it's very important to be sure if you change something in Betaflight, you update the Betaflight to be sure to keep this alignment correct, okay. And how to bind with your favorite FreeSky radio, for example, I will show in any case, okay, and for other type of radio. So the instruction manual is pretty well done, I really appreciate. So what we'll find, first of all, the battery, as announced, it's a 400 milliamps hours model, 30C of discharge rate. We can give the exact dimension, and it's very compact, around 42-43 millimeters, okay, and by 21 by 15, ending with a GST connector. You have a balancer plug. It's more or less the same model than the Eachine FB90, but for this former model it was a micro USB connector. Now it's a GST, so if you change the connector, it can be compatible model. I can give you the weight of this one, around 22-23 grams, okay. So maybe some little bit better model can be found in the market. I will probably give you some choice in my full review written in droidminer.com. So you will find here an USB cable ending with this micro GST connector, 4-pin one. It's to connect to Betaflight directly. That's great. A bag with the 4 spare props. So the 1.5-inch model, 1535 to be more precise, and also you can find some tape here. It's to attach the IO camera to the aluminum camera mount. Okay, if you need to reattach it correctly, we have 2 potential spare tapes, that double-sided tape. That's great. We will find here a bag with a screwdriver and an M2 Allen key to remove your props. Okay, what also we will find, so this is the micro USB to this GST connector. If you need to plug with your own micro USB cable, it will be possible. Maybe it will be a little bit more easy. And how many we will find, how many rubber bands? 3 at least. 4 spare rubber band to attach your battery. They are solid, and that's great. And here finally we will find a double-side velcro band to secure completely the battery installation beneath your quadcopter. Okay, so and with some tape to be installed. So here is the quadcopter, so we can compare directly with this big brother, the 90, and as you can see, the difference in size is huge, but we have more or less the same principle. So the same large antenna guard here, protecting pretty well the 3-leaf video transmitter antenna, and thanks to the M2 Allen key you have the possibility to set the angle, okay, to up tilt a little bit the IO camera. If you have a very good pilot and you need some more aggressive to perform more aggressive flight, you can a little bit raise, up tilt the camera. That's great. But we will find exactly the same system, some 3 key duped prop guards, okay, and this square lower frame, okay, where you can see the main board. The lower one is the 4-in-1 ESC, but on the second layers we'll find here the Omnibus F3 board here. Okay, so it's rotated by 45 degrees, so be aware of that. And instead to have 1104 7500 kV motors, we have only some even more compact, some 1102, but announced to spin at 11,500 kV, so even faster. On the other hand, it means that this motor won't support 3S for sure, so don't dream of that. The motor will probably die very fast in 3S configuration. Okay, so we have on the rear side the same 4 LED lights, configurable through Betaflight. That's great. And on top, this IO camera tape on this aluminum camera mount. I still regret the choice of an aluminum one. They could maybe save some little bit weight by more a 3D printed one and plastic one. Okay. And in other hand, look that if you already saw my videos, you know that one of the main drawbacks of the 90 was concerning the aluminum standoff close to the prop guards, and you know that the ground clearance between the extremity of the props with it was only 1 mm maximum, and during mid-flight, due to the flexibility of props, the probability to have a contact with the aluminum standoff was high and broke immediately a props mid-flight, and so a crash was really impossible to avoid. So with this new version, they replaced the aluminum standoff with some plastic one, 3D printed one, so no problem, as you can see, for the clearance between the stand-up here with the props, so that's great. But in the hand, I deeply regret the choice to have some plastic one. It means that if you have a direct contact, all the stress of the shock will be transmitted to this plastic, and the plastic will break, not the carbon element but the plastic. So I strongly advise, if you're interested by this machine, to stock some spare stand up like this, because they will break versus time, especially indoors. Okay, after multiple shocks, I'm afraid that they will all die and you will finish to fly without the duct system at the end. For the FierSky version, we have this 2.4 GHz antenna installed like this, and on the rear side, okay, we have a tiny bind button. Okay, you have to little bit move the cable here. You can guess the buzzer, and we have a small bind button. Okay, you have to click to bind. It's not an auto binding procedure like recent FierSky receiver. So as usual, you will need to power the machine while pressing down this button to enter into the bind mode. I will show how to proceed before to show all the default configuration. So really what I like is the compactness of this machine. Let's measure a little bit the weight. Promised to be around 48 grams. We will check that fact. I will remove the lens cap. Without the battery, the weight is already about 41.1 grams. So they lie about 3 grams. 3 grams are here. Extra grams are here. I don't know where they come from. And if I had the battery, the total weight will be around 64 grams. And in comparison with the Aurora 100, okay, this one was I would say just slightly less than 10 grams more heavier. So you can get that the difference on the weight between will be around 10 grams, maximum 11 grams. So, and this one got very strong motors, okay, and can be run in 3S if you want. So some disappointment about the weight, sorry. Probably some weight can be saved. All the camera could be maybe lowered to save some weight, to remove the antenna guard. Okay, maybe change the cloverleaf antenna for a more linear one, and probably all the upper system can be saved. And the more compact the machine is, the more hard to stabilize this machine will be. So it means that if you encounter some drift of some I would say not stable situation, a trick would be also to remove all the upper part to lower everything. Maybe you can install a classic camera mount of all the tiny hoop system. Should be possible, I think, to tune everything like this. So the props are very basic for blade props. I think if I don't really have very good result with, I will probably install the Epson model, probably a large hub. Also recently stocked this type of 3-blade one, 55mm, so much more longer, but I will use a nail cutter to adjust to the prop system, prop guard system. And I think if the duct are removed, some longer props could be installed. So how to configure this machine? We have here on the front left duct system this port where you will have to plug either this cable directly ending with USB, you will be able, or via this connector, okay, interface, where you will be able to attach your favorite micro USB connector. So it's not so hard to connect. At least it's much more easy than the 90. Remember, we have to remove part of the prop guard to access to the micro USB. It was a completely faulty design, a very bad error in the design. Now this one is correct and corrected, and you have just to enter the cable like this, and by default Betaflight 3.1 is installed. Okay, I will show all the default configuration. Okay, so I plug the USB cable, okay, through the mini JST connector, and I will use this USB power bank, for example, for telephone, for example, or you can use directly the battery, but I think it's more easy for me to plug while keeping press the bind button. So, but exactly the same. So what I will do is to press the bind button. As I said previously, it's on the rear left side, and the PSK receiver is just taped, so you will need to be sure that it's correctly pressed. You have to hear a click, okay, like this, and then just insert in the power bank like this, okay, and then I will go to my radio and press the bind procedure, okay, and if everything is okay, the LEDs of the receiver should stop to flash, okay, then you can power off everything, okay, repower the quadcopter. You have the LEDs flashing, and then as soon as I will turn on the radio, I should have a solid green LEDs, as you can see, and since the buzzer stopped to emit, now is working fine. As you can see, we have the by default the Larson scanner effects. That's great, okay. Of course, you can configure as you prefer. So now let's check the default Betaflight settings. Comes with 3.1, okay, and after upgrade to 3.1.6, the actual lasted Betaflight version. you.